What is going on, guys? Joe Hodge here. If you hear a baby screaming in the background, that is Yuna. She's getting her diaper changed. She's not too happy about it. But as you see by the title of the video, today we are doing a review on Joker. The 2019 film Joker. I loved it. It was great. Favorite movie? No. But definitely was good. I want to get out of the way that with movies like these that are usually the origin stories, they take longer to build up. They're slower movies. They don't have as much action. I can say I'm kind of biased towards some slower paced movies because I do like action. And if a movie doesn't have a lot of it, if it's an action based movie or a horror based movie or whatever, you know, it's still fun. But we can all agree that we like to see those types of things, and that's why we go to the movies, to see action and stuff and fight scenes and stuff. In action movies, superhero movies, supervillain movies, things like that. I mean, we do go for the story, don't get me wrong, but you know, we go for the action too and the blood because for some reason we like that. So, Joker review. Really, really good film. It covers Arthur Fleck, his journey, his transition into becoming the Joker. You see him first working as the street sign dancers where they twirl the signs and they throw them up. That's one of the first scenes of the movie. You know, he's putting his makeup on, he's trying to make himself smile. The blue paint tear runs down that you see in the trailer. That's really cool. And he's an advertiser for, he works at a business that advertises other businesses as like sign street dancers. He has this yellow sign that says everything must go, and he spins it around, he throws it in the air, does all these cool tricks, and then that sign gets stolen by these punk kids, and he goes to chase him in an alley, and you see that in the trailer. He gets whacked by the sign, breaks into pieces, and then they beat him in the alley. And the whole movie is basically him going down a dark path. The dark path that he was already in the very beginning of the movie. The first film, you can already tell, the first scene, you can already tell that he has mental issues. You can already tell that he has to take medication, that he's psychotic. You can already he doesn't become psychotic. He's already psychotic in the first shot of the movie. He's born with mental illnesses, developed mental illnesses as he went, as maybe from an abusive home, child neglect, child abuse, things of that nature. And so this movie is his transition into the Joker. It's not his transition into insanity, although the further the movie goes, the more insane he becomes. So I don't want to highlight everything in this movie because while it is just a 2-hour and 2-minute film, it's not super long. There is a lot of stuff to cover, so I just want to give you the basis and my thoughts. I give it probably an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. Only reason is because it is slow, and slow movies, you do have to develop the story. So I really can't be biased in that regard because not every movie has to be action-packed. And Joker, the movie, walks the fine line between just enough to get by and almost none at all. Walks right between it because there's barely any fighting or anything. It's mostly just an origin story, and you see him go down this dark path, and you see there's like 3, maybe 4 tense scenes in the film where things get bloody and whatnot. But overall, it's just you seeing with the music that they added into the film, with just Joaquin Phoenix. How do you pronounce his name? Is it Joaquin or Joaquin? I don't know, but Joaquin Phoenix losing it as the Joker, just transitioning into this dark place as the Joker, and just going nuts. And the music, his theme sells it. The Joker's theme song for this movie is absolutely amazing and creepy. It's like a violin sort of bass theme. Doesn't sound like Heath Ledger's theme, but it has kind of a slight Dark Knight-like Joker theme. Just a little hint, somehow. Just the violin, but it's very nice. The instruments that are used in the theme really sell and make the movie for what it is. So in this film, you see him just lose it and go down this path towards becoming the Joker. And that he gets his name from a television host played by Robert De Niro. Says they play a clip on that television show, like, look at this clown, because they show a clip of Arthur at a nightclub or something, trying to he's making jokes. He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian, and he's making these jokes. And apparently, it was so bad that the character, Robert De Niro's character, puts it on his show. It embarrasses Arthur, which is the Joker, and Robert De Niro says, well, look at this guy, this Joker, and that's how he gets his name. That's basically how he gets his name. So sorry I don't have the mic either. This is just a review I wanted to put out. So we see him going into this transition to being the Joker. You know, he's already psychotic in the very first shot of the film. You see he has mental issues, that's clear. And, you know, the movie isn't really, I would say, confusing at first, but there are a lot of things that aren't as they seem to be. Joker gets into a relationship with this girl, and Joker is visited by this girl a lot that went to his comedy routine, the club, and laughed at his jokes and all that. I thought it was a bit weird, and I thought something was off. And Joker's on 7 different types of medications throughout the movie, talking to a psychiatrist, and, you know, we find out later in the movie that the girl that he was kissing and having sex with and seeing was all hallucination because of his medicine. You know, you see this character that he sees, that he saw maybe one time, and he actually saw her one time in an elevator with her daughter, and the other times were just hallucinations. And when he gets off the medicine, after, this is like 40, 50 minutes, maybe an hour after he kills 3 men on the subway, which is a really creepy scene. Joker just got fired, and so he's just depressed as can be, and these 3 punk guys are making fun of this girl, asking like, hey, you want our fries? Because they have like a bag of fries. They're teasing this woman, and Arthur starts laughing, and he has this condition, which he has this card that explains it, that he laughs in these emotional states, or he will laugh uncontrollably at things that he is not meaning to laugh at. It's basically a tic. It's basically a form of Tourette's. He laughs, but he is not wanting to laugh. He will laugh at something out of nowhere. He'll laugh out of nowhere. I remember Joaquin Phoenix based his acting and the laughing disorder, the mental disorder, off this video on YouTube of this guy who really has it. I forget what it's called, the disorder, but you see Joaquin Phoenix bring that YouTube video into the film. You know, in the video on YouTube, the guy that actually has it, he's laughing uncontrollably, and you see him choke and whatnot and hold his throat, and he does the same thing in the film. Joker does the same thing that guy on YouTube did in the film, and it's crazy to see, because I remember watching that film, watching that clip on YouTube ever before I realized that it had some sort of connection to Joker, or that Joaquin Phoenix took inspiration from that YouTube clip. I watched that clip before Joker was released, and it's really cool to see that. So those 3 men, Joker's laughing uncontrollably because he has the disorder, and they eventually approach him and they start making fun of him. They beat him up, and eventually he kills them. Pulls out his revolver that he was given to by a friend that worked at that business that advertises other businesses, and he kills the guy. Shoots one guy in the head, shoots the other in the chest twice, then shoots the 3rd guy in the leg. He tries to run away, shoots him again as he exits the subway train, and then Joker shoots him 2 more times I think he was already dead. He shoots him 2 more times out of anger, and you see this path just of him losing it and whatnot, and just going crazy. And then Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's dad, is shown on television. His main campaign in the movie is he wants to help mentally disordered people in Gotham, and he wants to help mentally disordered people in Gotham and you know, give them better lives. But he has this kind of pretentious way of going about it. He calls them clowns. He says they're not really people, they're terrible people, but he still wants to help them, and you know, that ticks off Arthur even more and makes him hate Thomas Wayne. And eventually Arthur learns about his mother. He's living with his mother the whole time in the film, and he takes care of his mother. And there's one time where Arthur it blows up on his mother, and his mother's forced to run into the bathroom and hide because she thinks Arthur's going to hurt him. And then we find out later that Arthur was adopted by who you think his mom is in the film, but that was actually never his mom. That he steals a document from the Arkham Hospital. He steals it from a guy's hand. He's like, he approaches the desk worker, and he's like, yeah, I have the documents for you, Arthur. I just can't give it to you without your mother's signature. They're 30 years old. They're 30-year-old documents. And he eventually reaches through the little slit in the grated separator that's keeping Arthur and the desk worker separated. He grabs it, slips out, runs out, and hides in the stairwell, and reads that his mother that he's living with actually isn't his mother, and was adopted by her, and that the girl, his mother, who he thought was his mother, let the abuse, or no, his actual blood mother let the abuse happen. I forget what it was, but Arthur was abused as a child, and I think the real mother let the abuse happen in the adopted home, or something like that. But we find out Arthur was abused as a child, and that probably connects to his mental disorders, and it is eventually revealed to us that the girl who Joker's living with, who he thought it was his mom, is not his mom, that's his adopted mother, and he gets mad at her while she's in a hospital because she had a panic attack one night, had a stroke, and had to be taken to the hospital. Joker smothers her with a pillow, and I knew all these things going into it, not everything about the story, but I was curious, so I went to the Parents Guide on Joker and read some spoilers, so I knew some things that were going to happen, and kills his mother, kills the 3 guys on the train, and eventually Robert De Niro, that talk show host, wants Arthur to be on the show because his character, whoever Robert De Niro's character was, saw, that he played that clip of Arthur in the comedy club and nobody was laughing and that was really awkward. But they still wanted him on the show. They wanted Arthur on Robert De Niro's character's show because he thought, I don't know, maybe he could do a skit or do something on his show because he thought while he wasn't funny, he was an interesting person or something along those lines. So then Arthur does his makeup and gets all fancy, and that's when you see him in his red, orange suit with the green hair, the very dark green hair, and that's with his white face paint and all that, and you see that in the trailers, the very first trailer you see, and the behind the scenes and set photos, you see him in that suit, and that's, he goes on to the show, the talk show, and you see him rehearse what he's going to do when he goes into that show. You see him at home, sitting on his couch, and walking through this little curtain thing he has in his home that leads into another room. He walks out and rewinds this old tape of someone that was actually on his show before and takes inspiration from how that guy walked out, said hi to the crowd because he was gonna, they're gonna introduce Arthur, and he gets inspiration from that clip and mimics the guy saying hi to the crowd and shaking his hand and whatnot and sitting down, and then when he actually goes on the show, he asks, "Can you introduce me as the Joker?" And of course he does. And they walk out and they talk, and he walks out on the stage and they talk, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? Can you tell some jokes or something, do a skit?" And he eventually, on the talk show, Joker admits that he's the one that killed the 3 men on the subway, because prior to being on that talk show, everyone was wanting to know who did that, who killed those men, but there were people supporting Joker, that people in Gotham was starting to lose its way, which I caught that line in the film. Someone said Gotham was losing its way, and that's from the Arkham video games, and I think in the comic books, Batman says that even, Arkham's lost its way. Well, you hear that in the film, and everyone's supporting Joker because they're like, yeah, we agree, Joker's doing what other people aren't. He's stopping the bad people, the people that are stepping on mentally ill people, like Thomas Wayne, that are trashing these mentally ill people. And I remember earlier in the film, before the talk show film, this was way earlier in the film, Joker comes across Bruce Wayne, young Batman, at the Wayne Manor gates, and Alfred runs out, you can assume is Alfred, and stops before Joker does too much. Joker puts his fingers in Bruce's mouth and makes him smile. Not roughly, not aggressively, but Joker walks up to the gates, asks who he is, he says Bruce Wayne, he's like a 9, 10-year-old. Does all these clown tricks, makes these flowers appear out of this little stick. It's a firm stick. When Joker has it, he hands it to Bruce through the gate and it becomes all floppy, typical clown jokes and gags. So Alfred eventually runs out, and then Arthur almost kills Alfred through the gate, grabs him through the gate and whatnot, and that's pretty cool. And it's really cool to see Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne, and Bruce Wayne, to know that, that's Batman, which is really cool. And I don't think it's connected to any DC films currently, like Aquaman, Justice League, Wonder Woman, Batman vs. Superman, Man of Steel. I think this is a standalone Joker film that's not connected, because we see Jared Leto's Joker, that's connected to the current DC universe, while this Joker film is more of a standalone. So anyway, back to the talk show scene. Joker's talking to Robert De Niro's character and whatnot, and he's telling these jokes. Our audience isn't liking it. Eventually, Joker admits that he's the guy that killed 3 people on the subway, and they take that as a joke at first, which is ironic. They don't think that he did it, and eventually he leads the audience and Robert De Niro character to believe that, yeah, I killed those people on the subway. I'm not joking. So they take it seriously, and no security guards or anything come out to arrest him or anything. He's talking to Robert De Niro's character, and he's like, "Why would you do that? Blah blah blah. Why are you doing this? You think what you're doing is right?" And eventually, it leads to Joker saying a joke, telling a joke. You want to hear a joke? What do you get when you cross mentally ill people with something about society? And then he says, "You get what you effing deserve." And then he pulls out the revolver and blows Robert De Niro's head off right in front of the crowd. And then everyone scatters and everyone's panicking. And he gets up, shoots him one more time in the chest. He's already dead. And it's just a crazy scene. You know, everyone's rioting in Gotham. They're killing police officers, cars, and everything's on fire. You know, there's a scene where after he kills Robert De Niro's character, he's in the back of a police car getting taken to Arkham, but an ambulance hits that police car, stops Joker from going to jail, and it's actually supportive people that stole that ambulance. They drag him out, throw him on top of the police car, and everyone is gathered around in this huge circle around the police car. All these people with clown masks on in support of what Joker was doing, and he gets up. Everyone starts cheering for him, which is what he always wanted. That's what he wanted. He wanted people to finally see who he is and make everyone laugh, and he wanted to stand for something, and he got to do that, literally. And you know, everyone's cheering and everyone's freaking out, and he's smiling. He starts dancing on top of the car, and Joaquin Phoenix acting is brilliant in this film. It is really unsettling and really good, really, really good. And then eventually he gets taken to Arkham, Arkham Asylum, I believe, and talks to the same lady, his psychiatrist, I believe. Their job closed down, and they moved to Arkham, the Arkham Asylum, insane asylum, and then you see this long hallway shot of Joker walking out of that room when he was with that lady. You can assume he killed her, and he's walking out, and with each step he takes blood trails off his white shoes, which is pretty cool. You know he killed her. And overall, a really, really good film. Again, 8.5 or 9 stars out of 10. The only reason, I mean, it is a slow-building film, but it is worth it. It is very, very disturbing. And the theme song for Joker, the Joker's theme in this film, is very, very sad. It's very disturbing and yet depressing and omniscient and just... It's almost ambient. It's a very sad, depressing, disturbing theme wrapped in one whole big theme for him, and it works. So Joker is definitely a film to see. It's not really that gory. I personally think films like It or It Chapter 2 are much gorier than this. There are a few gory scenes, but it's really not that bad. I mean, there's more cussing that equates to the rated R, the R rating, than there is blood. There's not a whole lot of gore, to be honest, at all. But it definitely is a good film to go see. So if you have time, go see that. I'm Job with my channel. I'm Job. I hope you liked this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what films you want me to go see, because I will actually go see films and review them for you guys if you want me to. So let me know what you want to see next, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.